Here in this gospel passage, our Lord and his disciples and his apostles are on their way to the Garden of Gethsemane after the Last Supper. And he has passed through a vineyard, and using the vines here in the vineyard as an example, our Lord speaks of himself as the vine, we the branches. Very famous saying. We heard it many, many times, all of us. But if you stop to think how a vine is taken care of, what has to happen in order for it to produce fruit? Not only produce fruit, but good fruit. It has to be, each year, the vines are cut down also to the stem, and then new branches grow. That's the pruning that our Lord is speaking of. Well, first he speaks of how we cannot go on without our Lord, and we have to look at this in a spiritual way. If we're to achieve our salvation, we cannot do it without our Lord. He is the one from whom come the graces, through our most blessed Mother, of course. But it comes from him. The eternity comes from him. It's a gratuitous gift from him. And without him, we cannot achieve it. We must be united with him. Any more than a branch without the vine can produce fruit. It won't. That's the first point. Then the second point, in order for it to continue to produce fruit, it has to be pruned. All the old, dead leaves, all the old fruit has to be taken off so that it can then produce again with vigor. That's the pruning that we go through. That's why we have, well, as a consequence of sin, suffering and death. That is the way our Lord uses to prune us, to prepare us to grow even more fruit, even better fruit. Our saint of today understood this and lived this and throughout her life. She was born in the late 1300s, and she married into a family. This was a common thing in this day and age. We are in the area of the Umbria, the same area that St. Francis came from. And she married into a family that was given to what we call vendetta, revenge. A rather brutal family, a difficult family. She had a difficult marriage, a difficult husband by whom she had twin boys. But then her husband was brutally murdered, and shortly afterwards, her twin boys also died. Left alone, she sought entrance into the local Augustinian convent, a convent of contemplative nuns, following the rule of St. Augustine. She initially was not accepted, and then miraculously found herself in the cloister gardens. She was accepted. She lived 40 years or so as an Augustinian nun, deep in reflection, particularly in the Passion of our Lord. Ultimately, in her older age, she was given a thorn from the crown of thorns in her forehead. So we see her depicted in full habit, holding the crucifix and contemplating the crucifix, very fixed on the crucifix, on our Lord suffering on the cross, the intensity of his love for us. And you see her with the thorn in her forehead and the bleeding coming from the forehead, from the thorn. She united herself completely with our Lord in a particular way in his suffering death on the cross. And thus, we too, if we will unite ourselves with him, accepting the trials and difficulties of every day, unite that with his own passion. And with the help of our Blessed Lady, we can do that and place that gift around the throne of our Lord. And thus we can help ourselves. We too can unite with our Lord in his redeeming act. And we can do that not only for ourselves and help ourselves produce much more fruit, better fruit, and arrive and achieve our salvation, but also for those we love as well. And even for the whole world. And here's how we'll bring about peace and harmony within, even here on this life now, and of course, in paradise, united with God forever. Praise be Jesus and Mary, now and forever.